New York Islanders defenseman Noah Dobson is reportedly available. Could he potentially solve the Sharks' biggest need as a right-handed defenseman?
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker of the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. Want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network, where we cover your team every day. If you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow on wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're going to be digging into Noah Dobson as he is reportedly available for a trade. So we'll look at why the Islanders are potentially looking to trade him, get to know Dobson, and then kind of what a potential trade might look like, and a pending contract for the soon-to-be RFA. So before we get into all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. All right, Noah Dobson, defenseman, New York Islanders, has been dangled out there as potentially available for a trade. The Islanders right now are the Islanders. They are a team that no matter what, they're going to continually try to get in the playoffs, despite them being the Islanders. Very much like, let's get in the playoffs and just kind of keep our jobs right now. Unfortunately, that's where the Islanders are, right? They have one of the oldest rosters in the NHL. They are just, right, like they're the creamiest of creamy middle type of teams. As of right now, they are going into the break here. They are at 57 points in the East. They're 4 points back from a wild card spot with the Rangers, Bruins, and Blue Jackets ahead of them. And then you have the Red Wings and Sens both in a wild card spot at the moment. So, right, they're kind of in that spot of, do we kind of push for it, or do we kind of go, just kind of blow things up? Noted GM Lou Lamoriello, of course, is never going to tear things down, right? He is going to continually try to push for the playoffs because of the roster that he's built. It's very much an aging roster with a lot of aging, veteran players. Like, this roster is kind of old, and that's being really nice. That's being nice. Like the forward group, right? You have multiple players in their mid 30s, like with Lee Anders, Matt Martin, even like a young guy, Anthony Duclair is one of the younger players on this team, which is kind of crazy to say. The blue line they've been dealing with a ton of injuries on the blue line, but they have Ilya Sorokin, who's one of the best goalies in the NHL. This team is very much like, they're very injured right now, and they're kind of limping along, and they're going to have some contracts that they're going to have to figure out, including Brock Nelson, Kyle Palmieri, Brock Nelson has been reported to be available, but also the Islanders might give him a 3-year contract extension. So, like, who knows what this Islanders team is going to do? Because, again, it's Lou Lamoriello, and he definitely marches to the beat of his own drum, which is definitely no beards. So, Noah Dobson, though, 24-year-old defenseman, right-handed, and we'll dig into him a little bit more. Former 70-point player. Like, the year Carlson went off and had 100 points, Noah Dobson was like a legit Norris candidate with 70 points that season as a 22-year-old. he is in the last year of his deal at $4 million and is expected to become is an RFA with arbitration rights, which means he can kind of argue for his next contract. So if you are the Islanders, you have a kind of a decision to make here, right? Do you want to pay this player, and we're going to talk about the contract more in the third segment, but do you want to pay this player what's going to be a very sizable contract? And especially with, some of the other contracts that the Islanders do have to pay. You look at like Alexander Romanov is an RFA as well. Perunovic, who they just traded for, Adam Boquist, who they just picked up. These guys are RFAs. You have some other contracts like, especially in the defensive group here that you're going to have to try to figure out. I know they've been kind of piecing things together. Like you do have some contracts you're going to have to figure out. And looking at their cap situation, kind of the next couple seasons here, it's okay. Like they have like $28 million in cap space going into next, almost $29 million in cap space with 14 out of 23 roster players. And like, so you're gonna have to decide, like, do you want to kind of tie up a large chunk of that for Noah Dobson? Dobson this year's definitely not had the same offensive production that he has seen in previous years, and he is hurt. He is on LTIR right now, expected to be back sometime after the Four Nations break here, but I think it's a big decision for the Islanders. So I think what they're doing is they're exploring, if we move on from him, A, what can we get? And B, is that better than paying Noah Dobson a large chunk of money for a very long time? And especially for a team that is transitioning a little bit here, but still also trying to be competitive. I think that is something that they're, it's well within their right to try to explore of, is this a guy that we want to sign long term? And again, like we know the Islanders don't have a great prospect pool, right? They usually trade a lot of their first round picks, or they're always picking kind of in the middle. Like they don't really have a great prospect pool. I know like last year they drafted Cole Eiserman in the first round, and like Cole Eiserman definitely has some questions, but the kid can shoot the puck like nobody's business. But this is like a team that is we're going to ride with our veterans until the wheels fall off right now, which is that's Lou Lamoriello, and that's what he's going to do. So I asked our good friend Gil, who covers the Isles for Locked On Islanders, and I asked him like, why is I literally said like, I'm an idiot. Why is Dobson potentially available? And here's the 3 reasons he gave. One, he's had an off year, especially on defense, where he's been a real liability. Okay, that's fine. And we'll look at kind of some of his defensive metrics, et cetera, here in a little bit. So, so that's legitimate, right? He's also 24. He just turned 25 beginning of January, or it's in January. He's an RFA, and he's not sure if he's going to be worth the contract. And see, the defensemen the Isles picked up recently have been playing well, so fans think Dobson is expendable, which I think is a real interesting thing there, right? Because like if you look at the Isles defense, the Isles have been known for like, we're going to play grind you out defense, right? Low scoring. We think our goalies and our defense are better than yours, and we're just like, that's just kind of been their recipe, that playoff type of style of, we're just going to try to grind out games and we think we can do it better than you, right? Recently, they traded for Perunovic. They picked up Boquist off of waivers, and they added Tony DeAngelo, who all these guys are making not very much. Boquist and DeAngelo are both on minimum deals, and Perunovic is making 1.15. So if you feel like those three guys combined can kind of give you for cheap contracts, all those guys are on last year's deal, like on 1 year deals right now, and you'll have to make decisions on them. But if you feel like you can kind of get the same production from three guys for much cheaper than one guy, I get the point there for Miles fans. So let's get to know Noah Dobson. We're going to dig into Noah Dobson, look at his contract, look at some of his analytics and stuff like that. And then we're going to talk about what a potential trade would look like between the Sharks and the Isles, and then a projected contract, and if that would be something smart for the Sharks to try to do. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started. There's no better place to get in on that than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or just want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. If you're looking for a big payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting. Nothing better than just rooting for a Steph Curry avalanche of points. That's my favorite thing to do, right? Is one, watching Steph Curry, and two, making money off of Steph Curry. So right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, before we kind of dig into Noah Dobson some more here, do want to, of course, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't, perfect time to subscribe. Now that we have a little bit of break, a little bit of breather, going to be digging into some fun topics. We got prospect dives here really soon. Going to look at the trade deadline, who the Sharks still have left to trade, all that fun stuff, who the Sharks could potentially target if they want to kind of bring in some players back. Plenty of great stuff here at Locked On Sharks, so make sure you follow wherever you get podcasts. And, of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. All right, Noah Dobson. Let's look at the player. So, Dobson this year just turned 25. Like I said, 1 year left on his $4 million AAV contract. 6'4", 193-pound right-handed defenseman. Sharks definitely need some help with right-handed defensemen. 46 games this year, he has 6 goals, 18 assists with 143 shots on goal, playing 24 minutes a night. Corsi for 52.86, so that when he is on the ice, the Islanders are out shooting or making more shot attempts than the other team. And goals for 52.31%. So when he's on the ice, they score 52.3% of the goals. Looking at his evolving hockey stats from this season, and overall playing first pairing minutes, 66th percentile, 43th percentile defense, 80th percentile offense, plays a ton on the power play, a little bit on the shorthanded. But even strength offense, his expected goals above replacements really positive. His goals above replacements actually negative. So he's actually producing well, kind of below expectations offensively. He's doing positive defensively. Power play is not that great, but again, the Islanders have the worst power play in the NHL right now. It is atrocious. So is that because of Dobson? Is that because of the team? I think it is just a pile of a lot of question marks there with that. Looking at Dobson over the past 3 years, though, playing first period minutes, 81 percentile offense or overall, 87th percentile offensively, 34th percentile defensively, slightly positive on the power play. Again, doesn't play too many shorthanded minutes there. So my big takeaway is just kind of looking at the stats is like those numbers. You're seeing much more effort, I think, in the defensive zone. And I know our friend, Gil said defensive liability has been an issue this year. You wonder if it's that thing where maybe he's making just bigger mistakes where they kind of compound into bigger issues. But overall, he's playing better defensively and sacrificing some of his offense this season, right? Again, the Styles team, terrible on special teams, still kind of like a grinded out type of team. So you wonder if maybe Dobson is kind of being shoved, round peg into a square hole here because of what is being asked of him. So looking at this season, his hockey stat card, plus 1.6% offensive rating, which is like 75th percentile, plus 3.5% defensive rating, which is like 90th percentile, plus 5.0 net rating, which is like 80th percentile there. Like Noah Dobson is an excellent, excellent player, like one of the best defensemen in the NHL. Maybe, not like Makar, Hughes, whatever, but he's definitely like kind of in that next group of guys here of kind of what he provides offensively, what he provides defensively. Like he is a legit two-way defensive player, like top end two-way defensive player. Looking at his usage card, he is facing tough competition, does get offensive zone start, kind of more offensive zone starts than, other defensemen on his team, but he's very efficient with it. And he's very excellent with those. Like he is like an effective two-way defenseman. This season, kind of going back to what I was mentioning with his zone, like kind of his usage and stuff like that, you see the offense isn't kind of there where we normally expect it, but he's very good at defensive zone retrievals and exits, like getting the puck out of his zone and getting it going, which is, if you watched more than 5 minutes of a Sharks game, this is one of the biggest issues that the Sharks have, right? Is getting the puck from their own zone into the neutral zone. The Sharks struggle with this, and it's very much a lot of hot potato guys trying to make passes and they just turn into turnovers. Like he's very good at getting the puck from the other team and getting it going into the other zone, which is a big area of need. Look at his over the past 3 seasons. This is something he's gotten better at, the defensive zone exits. Like he's really focused on that this year. Generally, the offense is awesome from Noah Dobson. This year, not as much. And like his zone entries, he's an excellent like transition guy. Like Noah Dobson is like a legitimate like two-way defenseman. Maybe he struggles a little bit on players kind of defending coming into the zone, which is fine, but he helps to solve a lot of your issues if you're a Sharks team. Jake Wallman's definitely been helpful this year. We know Wallman's kind of had some big setbacks this year, but like the Sharks don't have a top flight right-handed defenseman on there. Like they do not have one in the system, at least when it comes to right-handed players. And they don't have one, do not have one on the roster. So Noah Dobson would fill one of your biggest holes on your roster if the Sharks were to acquire him, because of his ability to defend, but also his ability to generate offense and get the puck out of his own zone, which are key areas that the Sharks, let's face it, they suck at those things right now, right? How often have you seen the Sharks just struggle to make like 1 to 2 passes and it gets picked off and the Sharks then spend the next minute chasing the other team around in the defensive zone just to try to get the puck back? Dobson is excellent at that. And he's really focused on fixing those, being a key part of those defensive zone retrievals. Now, if you think the Sharks acquired him and he were to play, he's probably going to be asked to do a little bit more offensive stuff than he is with the New York Islanders, right? Again, the Islanders very rigid. We're going to grind you out type of system. So you probably you may see more of those catastrophic errors. Think Erik Karlsson-esque. Again, Noah Dobson is not Erik Karlsson, but think Erik Karlsson-esque, where he's going to try to do some stuff that only Noah Dobson can do, and sometimes it's going to blow up in his face, but 9 times out of 10, he's going to be able to do cool stuff. So acquiring Noah Dobson, fixes a huge hole for what this team needs now and needs in the future. And again, he just turned 25. So let's talk about what a trade would potentially look like, and even bigger, a potential contract for Noah Dobson. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. You just realized your business need to hire someone like yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast, easy? Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your posts at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates faster. If you're in a spot where you need to hire like yesterday, the pressure's on. Every day without the right person is a setback. We've all been there at a job where you're shorthanded. With Indeed, especially with their sponsored jobs, they come in handy because they can make sure your post is seen by the right candidates right now. Now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now to support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. All right, before we talk about what a potential trade would look like, and more importantly, what a potential contract would look like, do want to, of course, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. For your second listen, go check out one of the other great shows here at Locked On. Of course, you have Locked On Fantasy Hockey. If your fantasy hockey team needs some help, need to know who to add, who to drop, as you start kind of gearing up for the playoffs, they got you covered for that. If you want to hear about the winning team from the Super Bowl, I'm recording before the Super Bowl, so go insert team here. You can go check out those or anything in the Bay Area. You got Locked On Warriors, Locked On Niners, Locked On A's, Locked On Giants. Plenty of great stuff here at the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. All right. A trade. This is where it's hard because the Islanders, again, right? Lou Lamoriello, he wants dudes who can help him right now. And he definitely wants scorers. Like that was, I know they've been kind of in the Elias Pettersson mix. The Sharks, of course, don't have an Elias Pettersson. You assume Eklund, Smith, Celebrini are hands off, and I would not trade those guys for Noah Dobson. Right, those guys are part of your core pieces. So he's probably wants a NHL player who can help him now. And like if you look at the Sharks roster, the Sharks don't have a lot when it comes to I think what Lou Lamoriello is looking for. Right, you guys who can score. Tyler Toffoli, of course, is on a no move contract, and that doesn't open up until a 15-team trade clause until 27-28. Like that's trade's not happening, and I just can't see Tyler Toffoli waiving his contract to go to the Islanders to play right now, right? He just got here. He signed this deal to be here for a while, especially for a guy who's bounced around a lot the last couple seasons. I think Toffoli wants to be here. Wenberg, right? Not the biggest scorer. Also, no move clause, who turns into a 15-team no trade clause next season. I don't see that one. Barclay Goodrow, noted not scorer, also big contract. With a 15-team no trade clause. So who knows if the Islanders are on his trade clause or not. I don't think that fits what the Islanders are looking for. Luke Cunnin, a little bit of a scorer, but are you trading Luke Cunnin for who's also in the last year of his deal, UFA? I think Cunnin is like an Islanders type of player, right? He's hard to play against. I also can't picture Luke Cunnin without a beard, which would, because the Islanders and their facial hair rule, right? So kind of looking up and down the roster, there is one player, though, who would make some sense. And that's Fabian Zetterlund, right? Kind of a bigger player, plays much bigger than he actually is. Ken Scory's got 15 goals this season, right? He had 20 goals last year. He's also a player who's an RFA this season and is arbitration eligible, but is not going to command anywhere near what Noah Dobson is expected to get paid. So maybe Zetterlund is kind of the base of the trade, and then you throw in that shiny first round pick you got from the Stars. So that way the Islanders could turn around and flip it for something else. But I think for the Islanders, right, feels like a hockey type of trade. Like they want to get something that's going to help their team right now. And I just don't think the Sharks have the pieces to do it. Just because, again, the Islanders are going to be the Islanders. So let's just say, though, a trade does get done. The other big hurdle here is the pending contract. And Noah Dobson is going to get paid. Like, paid. AFP Analytics, who does a great job with their analytics and their contract projections and stuff like that, they have Dobson projected, and this was their kind of mid-season projections. They have Noah Dobson projected to sign a 8-year deal at basically at $10.5 million per season. And I can already get the like Erik Karlsson flashbacks, right? Of we can't do that. Like $10.5 million for the next 8 seasons. Like we've already done that. Like we just went through we just got rid of like all these bad contracts off our books, et cetera, et cetera. Like I can already feel the comments and people's like somebody swerved off the road when they probably heard that. I get it. That is a lot of money. But again, Noah Dobson, who just turned 25, he'll be 33 when that contract expires, right? Not a math guy. If I can do 25 plus 8, that's 33. You look at some of the other contracts in the NHL, and I think the closest one to compare him to is Rasmus Dahlin, who Dobson was also in the same draft class. Dahlin, of course, the first overall pick in that class, and has played basically an entire season more than Dahlin, Dobson and Dahlin. Like he's played an entire season more. But Dahlin just signed a 8-year, $11 million deal. You have the cap continually going up. It's projected to be over at $110 million here in less than 3 years. And the Sharks have all the cap space in the world. All the cap space in the world, right? They've projected $42 million in cap space going into this offseason. And you're going to have to spend about $20 million just to hit the cap floor, just to get to the bare minimum. And that's including a Vlasic and Couture contracts. Couture's who's probably never playing again. And Vlasic, who's, Mark-Edward Vlasic. Like he's probably just going to hang around and be your 7th defenseman. Like the Sharks are going to have to spend some money no matter what. And yes, they're going to have to retool their third line, and Fabian Zetterlund needs a new contract, and you're going to have to go out and find another goalie. But like you have the cap space to do whatever you want. And Noah Dobson just turned 25. That's a big chunk of money, but you're looking at way contracts are going to be going. That's just going to be the price of doing business right now. And I don't know if the Sharks can make this thing, just because I don't know if the Sharks have stuff that the Islanders want, right? I think that's the big hiccup in this is the Islanders want to compete right now. God bless them. But I just don't think Sharks have anything that the Islanders realistically want. Maybe if you had Mikael Granlund still like that, you could start with that. But are you willing to trade Zetterlund and pieces, maybe that first round pick and something else? I don't know. To get Noah Dobson and then turn around and have to pay him. And I think the Sharks, who do need to revamp their defensive core this offseason and need to find like some stable, good puck moving veteran presence, like on the right side there. Like I think that should be one of their biggest offseason goals, is to find a legit right-handed defenseman. I don't know. Again, I just don't see this trade working out because I don't know if the Sharks have what the Islanders want. So could be fun. Maybe it's more of an offseason trade because, again, like maybe the Islanders just kind of stick with what they have right now. They can't find anything. And then the offseason, you trade for his rights and you try to kind of go from there, and then frees up some cap space for the Islanders to do whatever they want, whatever. But as of right now, I do see this one a little bit hard to kind of figure out right now. But Dobson would be a lot of fun to add to the Sharks, and I think he would kind of check off your biggest need. To be honest, your biggest need is in the revamp this blue line, especially with Askarov coming into expected to be the full-time starter next year. I think getting a guy like this would be huge. I don't see how it kind of works right now for the Islanders. So yeah, it's fun though. It's always fun to talk about. We'll be back tomorrow. Probably going to be doing a prospect check-in on some of the big boys. So the Fireworks Factory, Igor Chernyshov. We'll probably talk Quentin Musty, some of the other top prospects for the Sharks. So make sure you guys are following wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Till tomorrow. Bye, friends.